devotional journey of such a great man, you have to know that 8 a.m. starts, you get closer, you get to your TV, sit down, and then as the activities you also say a word of prayer for the former president.
presidential elections. He's filed past already. Let's speak to him. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
So as I was asking you behind the scenes, did you have any personal contact with J.J. Rawlings?
Not really. It was on one occasion, and that is normally during the peace declaration in 2012 and 2016, when I got closer to him to say hi and things like that. But I remember in 2016, that I mentioned, I said that left with me, they should kill the 7 of us, okay, if that can actually bring peace. And I think that statement really went well with him, and I'm sure it reminded him of the fact that on his aborted coup in May 15, 1979, he also said the same thing. That I said what he said, hey, Massa, that is what he said. Then I was just saying, hey, Rawlings calling me Massa, then it means that something might have gone in him. That is the only connection that I would say that I have with him. But you know that right from infancy, at the age of 79, I was at the age of 11 when it came. And as a child, that was what we used to say, let the blood flow, let the blood flow. And amidst the fact that there were soldiers with guns and things like that, in my innocence, I'd wanted to climb back and shake his hand, as a child. And then, he became an icon to all of us about the fact that he always wanted to stand against the evils in society and things like that. But we've all gone past that, and seeing his lifeless body speaks volumes. It's indeed fact that you see, life is a gift from God, and to me it becomes more meaningful when it is shared. We can say that since 1979 up to date, whether we like it or not, whether he has benefited or not, he has shared his life with the nation. And that is something that we need to learn out of that.
So you are in the politics of things when it comes to Ghana. We're talking about some lessons that we need to learn, but what are some other lessons? You've been following this man ever since you were young. What are some other lessons that as a country, politically, we can learn from him?
You see, politically, looking at his life, how he transitioned as a military dictator into a constitutional presidency speaks volumes of who he is and how flexible and open-minded he can also become when he sees that the forces are not right for him to take an action. Okay, other nations went down, but for us, he was able to transition us from military rule to democratic rule. And that is something that we need to learn.
He was a very practical man, and I know you are an engineer, and so practicality would be of much interest to you. Maybe we want to be more practical as a country instead of talking about the theories, isn't it?
Definitely. You see, and I'm someone also, we used to hear that Rawlings does not believe in democracy. Likewise, you see, it's not that I don't believe in democracy, but how we are practicing it. And the whole world has been skewed since 1896. Because democracy was to cure partisanship. Political parties are not supposed to be part of democracy. But here we are, all of us, we've been engrossed in the fact that we should believe in political parties. And so we have failed as a nation to reinvent our own democracy, which the fundamentals is just about respect for the fundamental human rights and respect for rule of law. And so how you govern your people without partisanship is better. And to be honest with you, the political ideologies and partisanship, they are all imperialist tools of divide and rule. And I know that it's going to take us ages for us to come out with this realization, but I know that definitely he knew something about it. But it will take some courage for us to tell our leaders that let's forget about these political ideological parties, that I don't need to be thinking as a socialist or a capitalist to know how to feed my child, to know how to clothe my child, to know how to manage my church. It's only when it comes to politics that we buy into this kind of useless ideologies that people are believing in it, and because they are amassing wealth out of that, we tend to accept that.
And I've said it, the best repeating, that as to exercise freedom, we should make it a point at all times to also actualize responsibility. The two should go together. Freedom and responsibility should be the two sides of the same coin. In societies, judiciaries where they have freedom without limits, we all see the consequences: lawlessness, chaos, needless death. So there's a need in the rule of law dispensation such as ours to always operate within the confines of the law, whilst championing, whilst holding aloft the principles for which the people have died and for which we are expected to uphold at all times. So J.J. Rawlings has showed the way that we need to sit down. So this undying spirit, this indefatigable spirit should be our guiding principles. We should always make sure that by virtue of what we do, by virtue of the position we occupy, hold it to account people in positions of power and authority, exercising oversight responsibility over the tripartite government, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, exposing corrupt elements in society, certainly will step on toes, and those come with consequences. But we should always look at the larger picture. The supreme interest of this nation should always be our focus. Yes, regardless of what will happen. Yes, this is what we decided to do. It's a cause. Terrorism is a cause. We have decided to carry this one. And cross symbolizes rejection, molestation, harassment, insults, and what have you. But once we are addicted, once we are committed, ours should ironclad commitment to the values which underpin our profession, the values of truth, the values of transparency, the values of balance, the values of openness, and all that. This value should always be our guiding principles and not any other.
Thank you very much. Dr. Afomoni is the current president of the Ghana Journalists Association, former director of radio at the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. We're still here at the foyer of the Accra International Conference Center. He has filed fast. I've also done same. And so the way is opened for both high-profile personalities and regular individuals like you and I. At this particular point, there are not so many people around, and so if you are home and you want to come and pay your last respect to His Excellency, the former President J.J. Rawlings, this is a time to do so, because tomorrow is going to be for the President and his wife, the Vice President and his wife, former Presidents of the Republic and their spouses, speakers or former Speakers of Parliament, current Speakers of Parliament, the Chief Justice, former Chief Justices, and other high-profile personalities like the diplomatic corps. And so today really is open for you, the market woman, the shoemaker on the road. Don't forget that His Excellency, the late President, was a man of the people, and so you are very much welcome. This is our live coverage of the 4-day funeral, state funeral of the man J.J. Rawlings. He was born in 1947, the 22nd day of 1947, June it was, to a Scottish father, Mr. James Ramsay Rawlings. He was a pharmacist, and to and a woman from Keta in the Volta region. The late Victoria Agbutui was his mother. He lives in state discipline at the Accra International Conference Center there. Unfortunately, we are not allowed to get in there. And so once you come, you go through security checks at the entrance. You are screened by the security guys around. You do your first COVID-19 protocol check. There's some fumigation at the very entrance, and then you come and wash your hands. You sanitize before you get into the main building. As we speak, we see some political leaders from the New Patriotic Party. That in your shot, chairman of the MPP, Mr. Freddie Blay. I can see him clearly. I can also see Samuel Wuku, who is the national organizer of the MPP there. They are coming to pay their last respect. J.J. Rawlings was the man who ushered in the Fourth Republic, very much credited for the democracy that we enjoyed, that allowed parties like the New Patriotic Party, the MPP, they have come here to pay their last respect. As I told you, I have seen the chairman of the MPP who will lead his delegation to pay their last respect. I also see, if I'm not wrong, Joe Osei-Wusu, who is the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament. He will get in there and pay his last respect. That's in your shot, Samuel Wuku, who is the organizer, the national organizer of the New Patriotic Party. We have around various KT groups who've been bringing the place alive since morning when the whole ceremony began. They've been treating us to some very good traditional music, as you can hear from the background. And so, as I told you earlier on, if you're still at home, this is the right time to make your way to the Accra International Conference Center, where the man who has both sides is being a military ruler and a democratic one for that matter. He is known for his stand. He is also known to be a disciplinarian. But on the other side, we are told he was a very compassionate and loving man who was a man of the people, who made sure that everyone who came close to him had a piece of him. This is the man we mourn today. It is day 2 of the 4-day state funeral. As I told you, tomorrow we'll still be here at the Accra International Conference Center, where His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his wife, and then the Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and his wife, and then former presidents of the Republic. So we're talking about His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and then His Excellency, the former president, and their spouses will be here to pay their last respect. The diplomatic corps and the international community will be here tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, we move to the Independence Square, where the final funeral rites will be held in honor of His Excellency, the former President J.J. Rawlings. It's going to be an invitation to all Ghanaians from all walks of life get to see him for the last time before he finally takes a bow. We are still here at the Accra International Conference Center. As I told you, we've seen the leadership of the New Patriotic Party, led by their chairman, Mr. Freddie Bay. They have paid their respects. They will walk out and then we get to speak to him. We'll get to speak to Freddie Blake and then maybe Samuel Uku, who is the national organizer of the New Patriotic Party. And so there you have in a short Honorable Freddie Blake. He is the leader of the delegation which has come to pay their last respect. Hello sir, good afternoon. This is GTV. So what was going through your mind as you filed past? I'm saying what was going through your mind as you filed past? Did you have any personal encounter with this man who lives in Staten?
What went through my mind is that...
I'm saying as you filed past, what went through your mind? Did you have any personal encounter with him?
Very little personal encounter that I've had with him. I've known him as a political figure in this country who has been a leader of this longer than any other person. And he's had a very serious impact on the Ghanaian community. At the end of the day, we are human. Okay. So he's gone. Listen, we must serve our own country in humility, with good heart, with fairness to all. That's all I can say.
As a party and leader of the party, do you have any words for the family, Lamata Ghanaians?
Our sympathies to the family, particularly the widow who has to take a turn with him through. I appreciate that. But I think he's carried himself very well. I appreciate that.
Right, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Right, and so that was the chairman of the MPP. Honorable Freddie Blake. We also got to speak to Samuel Uku, who is the organizer of the New Patriotic Party. So we just spoke to your chairman, who led your delegation to file past. I mean, did you have any personal encounter with this man who lives in State today?
Yes, I mean several. During their delegate conferences when I was delegated by the MPP leadership as well. And also when he lost his mom just a few weeks before his demise as well. He had a great sense of humor. And he stood for some values and principles. And it's our hope and prayer that even upon his demise, the rest of the nation will carry on with the very fight that he led, for probity and accountability in our political system. And I'm convinced that under Kufuor and the MPP administration, we are determined and committed to also upholding all these values for the betterment of our society.
As a party and for that matter, as a government, do you have any plans of institutionalizing the memory of Rawlings?
That is for government to decide, not the party to decide.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. So Samuel Uku is the national organizer of the New Patriotic Party, the MPP. We are still here at forecourt of the Accra International Conference Center. In the background is music from various ethnic groups who've come here to provide some traditional music as we say farewell to His Excellency J.J. Rawlings. Since morning, we've seen traditional rulers, we've seen religious leaders, we've seen leaders from the Islamic community, from the Christian community, where the shadow we have coming to pay their last respect. You also want to come and do so before it's 5 p.m. because at 5 p.m. exactly, this particular place will be closed
maybe for preparations for tomorrow's ceremony. We have all seen NDC faithful wearing their NDC paraphernalia, who have come to pay their last respect. We've seen the cadres. We saw the party leadership. Early on, I saw Otokuno Bama, who is the Deputy Secretary of the NDC. He was here early on to pay his last respect. This is GTV's live coverage of the state funeral of His Excellency J.J. Rawlings. He went to Achimota School and then joined the military in 1979. That was in May. He staged his first coup, which was unsuccessful. He was arrested and thrown into jail and was awaiting execution. He was freed by some young military officers who helped him make a comeback on June 4th, 1981. Handed over power to Hila Lima, and today we celebrate a man who has two sides, the military side and the democratic side as well. He is credited for the democracy we enjoy today. J.J. Rawlings will go home finally. In there we have the family. We've seen the widow, Nana Kunedu Ajiman Rawlings, and her children, Honorable Zaneto Rawlings, MP for Kole. We've seen Kimathi Rawlings, the only son of the former president. And so we get to speak to more personalities. We speak to Ambassador. Let's speak to Ambassador. All right, so good afternoon to you, sir, and welcome to Ghana Television. You have filed past. What was going through your mind as you did so? Maybe you've come to the final realization that the man is no more.
Yes, but Jerry was such a great person. What he did for Ghana was incredible. Those who live in the hearts of the people, they never die. They live forever.
You have been a staunch member of the NDC. Did you have any?
I'm a civil servant.
Right, but you worked with the NDC.
We went to school together with Jerry. I worked as a career diplomat. I work for the government of Ghana, any government of Ghana.
That's okay. All right. So, but did you have what's your personal encounters? Do you have any encounters with him? With this
many. I thought we were in Ashwater School together. He was my senior in Ashwater School. He always stood for the little guy. He was an inspiration to us. I was ambassador of Ghana to Ethiopia, the African Union. Anytime he comes there, he comes to the house. He was our senior brother, our soul brother. He was everything.
Right, so you are a diplomat. Can you tell us a little bit about Rawlings' foreign policy at the time? He had an independent foreign policy.
No, The foreign policy of Ghana has always been Africa-centered. Rule of law, international law, African integration, African unity, African liberation. That was initially thought through by Kwame Nkrumah, and to various degrees, different presidents followed it. But one of those who followed it most closely was President Rawlings. Through him, through his internationalist policy, the Cuban government recognized it and offered 800 scholarships to young people to study in Ghana, in Cuba. Those young people, they are the heart specialists, the cardio specialists, the neurosurgeons operating in Ghana today. Jerry was a phenomenon.
That's Ambassador Kwesi Korte, right?
Yes.
Ambassador Kwesi Korte was a former secretary to the cabinet of President John Mahama. He's come to file pass.
Deputy chairperson of the African Union Commission
at the moment. All right, thank you very much. That was Ambassador Kwesi Korte. He was a former secretary to the cabinet of Excellency John Mahama and a deputy chairperson of the African Union. We got to speak to some more personalities who have come to pay their last respect. Good afternoon to you. What's your name, sir?
My name is Charles Lomi.
Charles Lumi.
Yeah.
Lumi. All right. So, can you tell us a little bit about what you know about this man?
I've known this man since I was a young boy. Then I was living in the barracks, and he used to be very fond of his horse. That horse we used to call the horse Lucifer. It was a very wild horse, but then he was not a head of state. He was an officer. We all grew fond of him because he loves everybody. And with the kids, we always gather around him. We like the way he rides his horse. We like the way that he alone is able to tame his horse. Because apart from him, nobody could use his horse. But he had a way of handling this horse. So much that it brought a lot of laugh from the kids to him. And then he had this popular watching joint, Amelia watching, that he used to buy his watching and things. So I knew him all those years. And I also had the opportunity to work with him for a very short time. He's a good man. But the last memories I had of him was, I was at the mother's funeral. And I was working with him at that time, part of the security details. And the way he handled things I don't even know what to say. But his last moment, when the mother was gone, I knew how close he was to the mother. I realized that something had gone wrong with the old man. And even on that night, we were looking for him to sit around us. We found him at the mother's grave in the night. And that is the last I saw of him. He's a great man. We can't have anybody like him again. He has brought a lot of impact to the world and to Ghana and to some of us. He's an inspiration.
All right, thank you very much, Charles. Right? Yeah. Okay, so we are still here at the forecourt of the Accra International Conference Center. We've been speaking to personalities, both high profile and regular personalities like myself and you and I, who have come to file past the mortal remains of His Excellency J.J. Rawlings. As I told you earlier on, this is the security structure that we have. And so when you enter the Accra International Conference Center, you go through security checks at the far end, and then you get to this booth, and then you are some Sir, if you don't mind.
I'm 71 years old. He's 2 years older than me.
Okay.
But happy the Lord, right regiment. He will be here at the Golden Barracks.
So I see some titles here. What are these?
Yeah, these are the United Nations. What we do is the Lebanon. This is Lebanon and Liverpool. Yeah. So these are the medals we have. But I forgot him, the Defense Revolution medal. I was searching for you, I couldn't get it. Right. I should have put it to 3. So we go passing. It's so recipe.
What did you play any specific role? What were you doing? Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And so that was Mr. Mensah. He's a very popular man, but on a low profile. We've been speaking to him and some other personalities who have come here to pay their last respect. We're still here at the Accra International Conference Center. We'll make sure that we bring you live pictures. Whatever it is that happens here, we'll make sure that you get to know and you get to see. This is GTV's and GBC News' live coverage of the 4-day state funeral of the former president, His Excellency J.J. Rawlings. The whole place adorned with his pictures and adorned with his pictures, obviously so. In the background is some music from various groups who have been providing us with very good traditional music from the Ashanti region. We are still here at the Accra International Conference Center, where the remains of the former president lives in state. Good afternoon to you, ma'am. Afternoon. Right, so you've done your filing past. What will you say of this man? Did you know him in your personal capacity?
Very well.
How did you know about him?
Oh, J.J. Rawlings. He's a very good man. He's my brother, my big brother. He's everything.
Okay. So
I can't say much. I nearly cry.
As he begins the journey, what will you tell the family, the wife, the children, and Matagana?
I'm sending my condolences to the family, and the wife, and the family. And Senator Rawlings is my sister, and it's my MP too.
Okay.
I love her. Right. I'm sending condolences to her family.
Right. Thank you very much.
With them.
Right. Thank you very much. All right. So as I said, the place is very much open to everybody. Open to everybody. From all walks of life. It doesn't matter your profile in society. You're very much welcome to come and pay your last respect. We got to speak to. Good afternoon to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
You've done filing past?
Yes, sure.
And then what went through your mind as you did?
Oh, I didn't believe he was dead, but I've personally confirmed he's dead now. And then my fond memories of him is, I just like his charisma, how grateful he is, and how courageous he is as a man. We've lost a gem, and he'll forever be missed.
Thank you. What's your name?
My name is Georgina Nete.
And were you connected to him in any way?
as far as I'm concerned, from the Volta region, and I'm going to be precise. So one way or the other, I'm connected to him, and we've lost a father, a mentor, and a granddad. May his soul rest in perfect.
Thank you very much. That was
sad moment, but that's God's way. Yeah.
Did you work closely with him in any way?
Yes, I did for quite some.